Hey, what's up everybody? So this is part 3 of the BlackVue DR750S 2-channel dashcam installation series for the Tesla Model X. In the first video, we did a quick unboxing. The second video, we made a conversion cable that would allow us to plug the dashcam into the OBD2 port of the car so that we could have power when the power was turned off. In this episode, we are going to actually do the fun part, the installation of the cameras and the routing of the cables, etc. Two things I chose to facilitate this process were a 5-piece trim removal set and silicone spray to aid in wire routing. The first thing I did was to plug everything together, hook the cameras up to the app, and make sure everything worked fine, and it did. And this included testing power to the cameras when the car was turned off. Next thing I did was to put painter's tape on the two sides of the plastic I was going to be separating first, just to make sure that I didn't scratch the plastic during this process. I figured out how to do this on the driver's side and recorded doing the same thing on the passenger side. So here you see the driver's side already separated. Camera perfectly sits on the dashboard, so hopefully this will be a good vantage point. So I have tape on both sides. Oh, I just popped the other, nope, I almost popped the other side in completely. Okay. This one is giving me more trouble. And the pry tool is getting really bent there. I don't know if you can see it. Okay, now I'm trying the Princess Auto one. Okay, so the Princess Auto one, it's a bit more hefty. The other one was bending here and also flexing, so that's the one that seemed to work better. Let's see how much damage I did. None to that side, and none to that side. Excellent. So I'm gonna pull this down, and then I'm gonna push it forward. And that's it. So that's the piece that I just took off, and no really noticeable, by my view anyway, marks. So I removed the 2 Torx screws, and the driver number is a 10, and now I'm going to attempt to take this part off. And that was pretty easy, actually. I think I might use the pry tool for the other side, just because I can. All right. So I want to say that was easy, because it was. I just don't want to speak too soon here. It's great I got it on tape though. I was unable to find this anywhere else. Okay, so I'm just going to move the mirror around a bit. I'm going to flex this guy in. It looks like I will have to go up and around the mirror. People took the mirror off, but then they said it was a pain to get back on, so I'm trying not to do that. I will see if I can show you guys where coming at here. Can you see that? Camera's backwards, sorry. Okay, so this thing, I could flex this guy here, this piece here, and pull it back. I think that's what I'll do. But if I do that,
I may not be able to get this around the mirror, in which case it's just going to be hanging, which is probably fine. Anyway, let me, I'll turn the camera off and then I'll figure out what I'll do. And then I'll turn it back on. Okay, I'm going to go forward with the assumption that I can leave this on. It's going to save me a lot of trouble. As I said, a lot of people said this mirror was easy to pull off, this ball joint, but getting it back on is a problem. I don't want to have to push against the glass, etc. So I think the only reason I really need this off is to be able to feed the wire through, and maybe also get the get this plastic piece, get this plastic conduit off. I think somebody said it was, sorry, I can't see that. I think somebody said it was screwed in here or something, or there's a piece screwed in there. So now the goal is to take off this channel. I started right where that it looks like a heating element for the camera area, but I started right under there. I just shoved this guy in between here, and I torqued it up, and there's a click. Okay, so I'm gonna continue this. There's one. And I'm gonna use two hands for this, obviously, but anyway, so this is, I don't know if you can see that. That's what I'm doing. I'm just, every inch or so, I'm just gonna go up along here until I get to the back. Sort of hand over hand, I used one pry tool, it clicked, and then I left that one in. I put the next pry tool where there was enough of a crack, it clicked. Pretty big clicks. It's a little bit disconcerting, but anyway, so it seems to have exposed everything. I just did one side and they both sort of came out. I don't think I broke anything. It looks, all looks good. So it looks like I have a free channel now. It feels like the curvature of the inside of this is such that there's going to be enough space on top of this conduit here. So I don't believe I'm actually going to have to, feed the wires through that conduit. I don't think I'd be successful doing that anyway. So, okay, stay tuned. So I just took a fairly rigid wire and fed it up through behind here, up to here till it popped out, and I'll use that to fish. So I took the conduit off and go through here, down to the middle there, and then there across to where the wires have to go. Sorry, I'm doing all that with one hand. Not too clear. This is going to be, I think will be an easy fish job. I still don't know if I'm going to run the wires sort of through the front here or through the side. We'll see which one looks better, but I'm going to put the channel back on. I'll just try and, so it's got this little bracket here that's molded into the channel, and a screw doesn't go through there. It's just a little plastic post that's in here. So I just have to feed this back through, put it in the plastic post, and that should be fine. So it goes this way. You can picture that in there, underneath the post and back up, and then I'll push it in. So I got this back together. I chose to run it so far out of the side. It's movable though. The wires can, slide underneath if I want them to. Got everything aligned. The channel was difficult to get on. Sorry, it looks like it's separated there. It's not. It was difficult to get on. I ended up having to remove the white conduit that the thin wires were going through, so I had to be super careful when I snapped this thing back on to not cinch the wires. I don't know what gauge they are, maybe 22 gauge, 24 gauge, something like that. So they really are that small. So that's no joke. But anyway, so I ran the wires through here. You can see the back, the wire for the back camera. I still haven't run that yet, but I'm gonna come through here and go towards the back. This one, the power wire, I am running now. Just have to, you can see a little bit of it there and a little bit of it there. And so I'm just running it down the front and then down through here. I'll take off this panel. I can't do it right now because I'm right against the wall, but, and I can't open the door far enough out. But anyway, I'll run it through there and then down here and then underneath to the OBD2 port. So I've just fished a piece of rigid wire, I guess, from the back of the Falcon Wing door to the other side of this. You can basically just sort of pull it down and see where this was inserted. Now I'm just going to pull this through. Normally use electrical tape, but somehow I'm out of it, so hence the painter's tape. Here's an image from the back after pulling that wire through. The next step was to detach the corrugated conduit from the body of the car and to push the white rigid wire up from where the green tape is now through the hole so that it's sticking out as you see in this picture. The next thing I did was to get another piece of that white rigid wire and attempt to feed it through the corrugated conduit from the other side. I detached that conduit from the trunk door as well. That was a lot more difficult than it looks like it would be. And at that point, I pulled the wire out and used the silicone spray on it, and then it was very easy after that. I used a trim removal tool to start detaching the clips from this end. The trick here is that as you pull the plastic piece out, you want to pull it horizontally. Don't pry it up or down, or it's likely that you'll break clips. Okay, so this is all installed. To make it easier, I'd read somewhere and I confirmed that this is dead center on the back window. To make it a little easier, I measured the the distance from the center of the lens to the edge here, and that was 1 7/8 inches, which is 4.76 or so centimeters. So that made it a bit easier. So I just marked it from here, put a piece of tape over on this edge, and I lined it to the first rear defog line. So now I'm just gonna tie wrap up the excess cable, loop it around, and that'll be it. Super important to note is when you are putting the corrugated conduit, when you're plugging it back into the body and to the trunk, you want to use some of that silicone spray on the end. It was almost impossible to do without it, and once I used the silicone spray, it went on easily. Here are a few images to demonstrate that the installation was done cleanly and that none of the plastic parts were any worse for the wear. There was no sign really that anything had been done. So I was really happy with the whole process. What I find extra nice here is that from the vantage point of the driver, there's no evidence that cameras are even there. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave any comments you have below. See you next time.